PTTS. Today's date is March 31st, 2023, Friday. My name is Nang Hong Lam. Well, there was kinda in a way like the other, I thought kinda like I have worked out something, I thought I'd come up with some kind of preparations, some kind of ways, kind of like solutions / ways, resolutions, like kind of like, cause especially like the more recent one, the more recent video, each of them when I begin the video, I would say that the reason I began this video because I was having these bothered thoughts. So because of saying that, especially in the recent video, because I made that statement right at the beginning of the video, so I have already took steps on this, come up with some kind of solution when I have bothered thoughts, since I've been making statements about on each of at the beginning of the video. So basically this morning I thought, I already took some steps about having bothered thoughts and things like that. But it's just, I come to like another bothered thoughts. It's just like, kind of like in a way, kind of like in a way, probably just, go with those ways, just go with those ways and not go with those ways and make another video. Kind of like, I think that's the way I came up with, go with what I have, those steps I have took, or not go with those steps I have took. Kind of like in a way, I felt like that is what I come to the conclusion on after, especially on the more recent video, since I've been at the beginning of the video made that statement that I have bothered thoughts, so I wanted to make the video, kind of like in that. So I felt that was the conclusion, that go with the way I have come up with engaging those bothered thoughts, or not go with it. So that's the conclusion. Felt that maybe it's gonna go on. It's just kind of like, in a way, probably just pretty much I came to that. I just told myself to just go with my first thought, kind of in a way. Like, it's gonna take the whole day, debating against myself. Then just make the video, kind of like in a way, why, just make the video, since I'm gonna debate against myself the whole day anyway. It's like, so kind of like just go with the first thoughts, like. So I kind of like in a way just say, go with the first thought and just make the video, kind of like in a way. Since it's gonna take some time, it probably might not take the whole day, but it's gonna take up some time, to debate against myself, and I don't know how long it's gonna take. So kind of like, in a way, just go with the first thought and make the video. At the same time, there is just that whole, I don't know, it's both sides of the argument. There is one side would argue that there is some kind of involvement with the well, I don't know, like, they're kind of like this whole, well, I mean, for now, I'm going to talk more about it. Right now, I'm just going to go over, like, the name of it. Kind of like this, the more, like the whole, like, this Godfather society, kind of like in a way, both, like the whole Godfather society. So one side would argue that there is this whole Godfather society and Standard society involved with my life, and another side would argue that I don't have any, my evidence not solid enough to point this out, that there is involvement with the Godfather society and Standard society in my life. There isn't enough solid evidence to point this out. So kind of like in a way, both sides of the argument, that one side would argue that there is involvement with the whole Godfather society and Standard society in my life, and another side would argue that there is not enough solid evidence to point this out. So anyway, the Standard society, which will emphasize on the whole filmmaking, like the filmmaking industry, which I felt that is what the other day I pointed out that it's like the whole filmmaking industry, like how I want to take the step toward, like, you know, point it out, you know, step by step illustration of the whole filmmaking industry. In one of the video, which at the time, I kind of go with this word, cinematography, which is more on it's just more on like a department on the filmmaking. So I felt that the other day, even though like that's my intention on that day when I was making that video, which that's what I was trying to point out, the whole step by step on the whole filmmaking industry. Anyway, so that's what I got. So that's like the Standard society. I felt had a lot to do with. So anyway, it's basically this is what this whole video about. So kind of like in a way, I would point out how I get involved in these two society. Maybe that's why it's just both sides of the argument. How did I get in? So basically this today's video. Basically that's what I'm gonna title, like the whole. Well, I mean, basically these two society, like the whole, but I haven't really come down with a title yet, but it is about the whole, the Godfather society versus the Standard society. So kind of like in a way, why did there are those two arguments in my life? How come like one of the argument would say like, there are a lot of involvement with the whole Godfather society and Standard society in my life, and another side would argue that I don't have enough solid evidence to point this out, that there is all this involvement in my life with these two different societies. So kind of like in a way, so basically this video is about how I got involved in these two society. Okay, I just rewind it about 10 minutes. I guess start making arguments and start cussing out loud. So I rewind it about 10 minutes of the video and deleted those cussing out loud and just making it. Basically, I would just want to point out that I am in a kind of like a conflict, like a situation where there's a lot of like arguments is that I needed to kind of like I felt like I wanted some kind of support to my situation. Basically, that's what, you know, like the situation I'm in, and I felt that it's just, and these two society, I felt I don't want to get, you know, in a fight with them, kind of like in a way. That's why, like, I just want to, you know, watch what I'm saying so that I don't get into a fight with them. It's just, these are two known society, like, that have a history and establishment and all of that. So it kind of like, in a way, it's not that, kind of like I just wanted to say that there are these arguments that point out to that my involvement with these two societies. So I just want to, kind of like in a way, at the same time I'm in this situation that I can't get into a fight with them because they could, you know, I could get really into big trouble and serious problem could happen to me and things like that. It's like, okay, so alright, like I was saying, pretty much, alright, from 2008 to 2011, I got elected as the president of the Mason Multimedia Club. That is the highest ranking positions I got in, like, that's my highest ranking positions, which I started campaigning to rank up my status on 1993. So kind of like, you know what, right now I'm going over my status just in case there's some kind of misunderstanding. So my build-up status started on 1993 when I began campaigning to rank up my status, and the highest position I got to was the president of the Mason Multimedia Club for 4 years of time, from 2008 to 2011. And as for the competing through the Pro Tour / tournament started on February 1999, and I have accumulated 199 first places in the Pro Tour / tournament. Well, I felt, okay, just right now I'm just gonna briefly go over my build-up status, just briefly go over it. I'm not, okay, so, anyway, well, there's also another status I have which I don't usually bring it up because I felt I haven't really done much with that one. Because for the Pro Tour / tournament, I have created the PTTS, which stand like abbreviated for